We begin with what has been dominating discussions since last week. The issues surrounding suicide, the incidents of suicide in Jamaica. And this morning, that dialogue, those discussions multiplied with news of the death of Trelawney Parish Judge Ruth Lawrence. And that is dominating the discussion across the country. And now I gather in St. Andrew, especially Upper St. Andrew, there's another case that has members of the communities there buzzing. The apparent suicide of a young Jamaican man, Richard Todd. Yeah? And what we're learning in relation to Mr. Todd is also tragic and quite sad as to how he took his life. Yeah? It's quite a sad story. We gather on Tuesday night. He's James Todd, not Richard, James Todd. James Todd shot himself in the head in the living room early Wednesday morning. And we're learning that before he killed himself, he went into his parents' room, hugged his dad, watched TV with his mom, and kept saying how he loved them, and then went into outside in the house and shot himself in the head. Yeah, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. And that's another case of suicide. And of course, the papers this morning are all reporting, the front pages of both daily newspapers this morning, the death of Judge Lawrence. The Observer says shock and grief. Legal community mourns sudden death of Judge Ruth Lawrence. The Gleaner also leads with a story, and the Gleaner's take on it from the headline on the front page: judicial anguish. Yes, judicial anguish. Suicide suspected in Trelawney Judge's death. Poison reportedly found in her room. And these stories are coming too thick and fast for us to absorb. The Observer says tears flowed Wednesday morning as grief-stricken staff at the Trelawney Parish Court grappled with the death of 59-year-old Parish Court Judge Ruth Lawrence. Lawrence was pronounced dead Tuesday evening at the Falmouth Public General Hospital. And it says a high-level probe has been launched into the incident. And it makes reference to what it calls a leaked internal police incident report making the rounds on social media, indicating that she was suspected to have ingested poison. And it then details pretty much what we saw yesterday morning in that leaked internal police report. And of course, the details of that report beg many, many questions than they provide answers. Yeah? And I suppose we'll just have to wait to hear the outcome of the investigations of the police. And of course, the pathology report as to how Judge Lawrence died, what killed her. Yeah? And this issue of mental illness. A lot of people now being forced to talk about it seriously. And, you know, when you have a friend or a family member indicating to you that, listen, I'm struggling, do not dismiss it. Yeah? And they may not say in such clear terms that they are struggling. They may just drop a hint. I'm not doing well. I'm not doing well. But may I push on. That may be your cue to try to reach out and help. Yeah? Because these issues are real. And you have people who need the help. All they need is somebody to spend some more minutes with them, talking with them, and probably better still, if possible, go see them. Yeah? Go see them to get them out of their routine and really try to get them some help. And I keep on making the point because many times we miss the cry for help, or if we don't miss it, we don't pay enough attention and act doing something about it. Yes, we must do something about it. Yeah. If you, Kevin, can go to number 3 for me, where an associate counseling psychologist at Family Life Ministries, Pauline Bain, speaking on Nationwide yesterday, called for a change in how persons view the issue of suicide.
I believe that we don't take it seriously and we don't listen enough to what our children or adolescents and adults are saying. Because when somebody starts to say, I wish I were not born, I wish I were dead, I don't want to live anymore, we don't take it seriously. Sometimes some members of family say, okay, go kill yourself then. So it's our attitude to it, and this is what I think we need to change.
Pauline Bain, you hear that? Yeah? Those words are a cry for help. Could you replay that clip for me of Pauline Bain, Associate Counseling Psychologist at Family Life Ministries?
I believe that we don't take it seriously and we don't listen enough to what our children or adolescents and adults are saying. Because when somebody starts to say, I wish I were not born, I wish I were dead, I don't want to live anymore, we don't take it seriously. Sometimes some members of family say, okay, go kill yourself then. So it's our attitude to it, and this is what I think we need to change.
Pauline Bain. Yeah? I think she hits it on the head. Yeah? And then the president of the Jamaica Psychiatric Association, Dr. Brian Kazara, says poor mental health and substance abuse are among the top issues which, when left untreated, cause people to commit suicide?
The reality is that in Jamaica, many persons are dealing with mental health challenges and are not getting access to appropriate care. That's a big issue, and we need to try and find ways to make sure that persons can access the care they need. Substance abuse is a significant problem as well, and many Jamaicans actually don't get access to that. Social isolation, that's another big one, and when people feel socially isolated, they're more likely to engage in activities that might be harmful. And finally, the reality is there's a burden of adverse childhood events. A very large proportion of Jamaicans experience traumatic events during their childhood that actually affect them into adulthood.
That's Dr. Brian Kazara, the president of the Psychiatric Association of Jamaica. Yeah? And we hear the figures that, listen, more men die or commit suicides than women. But consulting psychologist Dr. Leakim Simaj told Nationwide yesterday that actually more women are responsible for attempting to commit suicide than men.
I've been looking at this pattern globally over a long period of time, and I published a paper a couple of years ago looked at that homicide and suicide are two sides of the same coin, even though we look at one through the lens of the mental health system and the other through the criminal justice system. But they're both in terms of how the society deals with aggression and violence and how it's directed. More women attempt suicide in generally, but more men are successful, to use a bad example, because of the methods that they use. The typical thing that men do is it's immediate. A gun to the head or a rope around the neck and such.
Such an important point made there by Dr. Simaj. Yes? Men are more successful. That's why more of them die that way. But you have more women attempting it. And I have to say this, it takes a very brave person to commit suicide. Yes? Very brave. I told you this morning, Mr. Todd, James Todd, who took his life early Wednesday morning in St. Andrew in Jamaica. He just not simply, he pulled the trigger, put the gun to his head and pulled the trigger. That's a very brave act. So please, listen and do not dismiss, the appeal for help. Get help for people. Time for the break. Have you heard about the Independent Fiscal Commission? Chances are that many of you haven't heard about it. The Independent Fiscal Commission. Well, after our economic travails around 2011-12, you will recall we, as in Jamaicans, fashioned the Economic Program Oversight Committee, comprising stakeholders from different sectors of the society. And that was largely mandated to watch and scrutinize how governments were managing our fiscal affairs, how they were spending, their priorities, so that we would not get back to the place we were coming from, where governments have been fiscally irresponsible and misled the Jamaican people in terms of their economic decision-making. An epoch ran its course and it was replaced largely under the leadership of the former Finance Minister, Dr. Nigel Clark, by the Independent Fiscal Commission. That is the body now set up by law, to tell you, we, the members of the public, how our government is managing our fiscal affairs. Are they being responsible? Are they being prudent? What? And I start with that because it's a new institution. It is very important for us going forward, because never again we must allow any administration, any finance minister, any prime minister run with it like Omar and PJ did and say we'll fix the problem later. Never again. And that's the duty of the Independent Fiscal Commission, to look at the numbers. They have the technical expertise to do the analysis and to say, Jamaicans, what they're doing is reckless, it's dangerous. We have done the work, we've given you the information, you now need to deal with them. We didn't have that when Omar run with it. Yeah? So, yesterday, the Independent Fiscal Commission issued a report. And in that report, it warned of potential shortfalls in government revenues and capital spending. It also warned that this could have a material impact on meeting certain budgeted targets. Yes? It also identified how the economy was doing, what were the advances being made. Yeah? Here's Siobhan Campbell's report on that.
The Independent Fiscal Commission, IFC, is the body now tasked with ensuring that the government remains in line with the country's fiscal rules. It replaced the Economic Program Oversight Committee, EPOC. In its latest statement on fiscal performance, the IFC flagged a $14 billion tax shortfall at the end of the last fiscal year, which has overstated the revenue base for 2025-2026. The Commission cautioned that the government may need additional revenues to meet the budgeted targets. At the same time, capital spending across the specified public sector was only $20 billion in the April to June quarter, compared to a budgeted target of $40 billion. The IFC said the under-execution of infrastructure projects could dampen Jamaica's economic growth prospects. Still, the report highlighted several positive developments. Inflation fell to 3.8% in June 2025, which was below the Bank of Jamaica's target range, while unemployment dropped to a record low of 3.3% in April. The country also benefited from an 8% boost to its nominal GDP after the Statistical Institute of Jamaica adopted a new system of national accounts. That revision pushed Jamaica's debt to GDP ratio down to 62.4%, placing the country on track to achieve its legislated 60% debt target 2 years ahead of schedule. The IFC praised progress on reducing informality through digitization and strengthening the public investment management system, but it noted gaps in public sector wage negotiations and compliance with reporting obligations. The Commission also noted that since the report's preparation, macroeconomic conditions have continued to improve, with GDP expanding by 1.6% in the June quarter and inflation falling to 1.2% in August. It's the lowest in nearly 6 decades. It's also noted unemployment held steady at 3.3% in July. The IFC said it will present a deeper assessment of fiscal performance when the government tables its interim fiscal policy paper later in October. Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
Thank you, Siobhan. Now, in other news now, word came yesterday afternoon that the attempt to really undermine and to cast doubt on the outcome of the election in the Prime Minister's constituency of West Central St. Andrew by the People's National Party, that attempt has fizzled. It has failed. This after the constituted authority refused a request the losing PNP candidate Paul Buchanan Mr. Buchanan had submitted an application to the constituted authority asking them to overturn the result of the elections in West Central St. Andrew. Since then, he has insisted that he was the true winner of the seat. You know? Well, under Jamaican election law, the constituted authority is authorized to halt or void elections, yeah, given the evidence presented to it. Who constitutes the membership of the authority? The 4 independent commissioners of the Electoral Commission of Jamaica and 2 other persons, including a retired judge and a member of the Privy Council. Well, yesterday they made their decision known that what Buchanan and the PNP have been alleging amounted to nothing. Here's Donna Thomas's report on it.
On September 16, Buchanan filed an application with the Constituted Authority seeking to void the election result in the seat that's been represented by the Prime Minister since 1997. The application cites a number of alleged irregularities and breaches in the conduct of the election. In the final count, Dr. Holness tallied 7,090 votes to Buchanan's 4,980. But during a podcast interview, Buchanan falsely insisted that he was the clear winner in West Central St. Andrew.
I believe in my heart I won the election, and I won it very big. There are 33,000 voters in that constituency. We have 3 divisions, 8,000 in the civil rights division, smallest. We have 11,000 in Olympic, which is Mr. Holness's strong area. And there is Mullines, which has 13,400, by far the largest. We have never lost it, not since adult suffrage. Andrew knew that if Mullines came out, the election was lost, no matter what he did down at Olympic.
On Wednesday, the Constituted Authority set the record straight. The election result will stand. In a statement on Wednesday, the Electoral Commission of Jamaica ECJ says Buchanan's request to overturn the result was denied. According to the Commission, Buchanan relied on Section 37 of the Election Petition Act to support his request. In that section, it's noted that a request can be considered in the event of an upsurge in violence or any irregularity during election day in one or more polling stations or polling divisions or in any electoral division or constituency. The ECJ says Buchanan submitted several affidavits from himself and others in support of his request. But the Electoral Authority says after careful consideration of the affidavits and the relevant case law, the Constituted Authority found that the evidence presented did not satisfy the standard contemplated by the wording of the law. As such, the Constituted Authority refused Buchanan's request. The ECJ says it informed the PNP caretaker of the authority's decision in writing on Tuesday. It also provided him with a copy of the written reasons for its decision. Tonna Thomas for Nationwide News.
Thank you, Tonna. Well, that is not surprising for those of us who follow these things closely. Yeah? That was an attempt in futility by Buchanan and his enablers. Yeah? And it didn't take much to realize that. But tired of Una now. Una stressed me out. Who said those words in court yesterday, after the break? There was a moment in court yesterday in the Noel Maitland murder trial. You know, Noel Maitland is a member of the Constabulary Force on trial in relation to the presumed death or murder of Donnelly Donaldson. There was that moment when a frustrated witness in the trial, declared in court, "Me tired of wanna know. Wanna stress me out." This was after he was recalled to stand to give evidence, to the stand to give evidence. He's a delivery truck driver. He had previously testified that he transported a settee. Now you know that famous settee that was full of blood like rice, from Maitland's apartment to a car wash. Well, there was that moment, and the judge had to quickly intervene. Robian Williams was in the courtroom.
After being questioned by the prosecutor and briefly cross-examined by the defense, the witness suddenly lashed out before leaving the stand. He said, Me don't have to come back here, you know. Me tired of you now. Una stress me out. Una stress out me and me picnic them. Me tired." Presiding Judge Justice Leighton Pusey quickly intervened, halting the witness's outburst. He reminded him that such behavior would not be tolerated in court. The visibly agitated man was then dismissed and left the courtroom. Earlier, the witness was recalled to identify voices in recorded phone conversations between himself and Maitland. He told the court he had secretly recorded the calls after Maitland contacted him about his truck, which had been seized by the police in 2022. In one of the recordings, Maitland was heard asking, Them tell you which station them take it?" The witness responded, "But no say nothing to me. Them just take the key and take it so. My papers them a work pan so them never get to take them." Maitland replied, "Me supposed to see the DSP in a few, so me I go ask him about that. I just hear me ear say them take your vehicle and give you a call." The truck driver said, "John Star, my vehicle broke down and they are me yard, and then find me yard, then find me address." To which Maitland responded, "Yeah, because you forward on my house and them investigate everything, and that's why. You not have to go in no detail as to what the investigator ask you. That for them thing. But me just apologize for the whole thing, yeah?" The witness was also heard explaining the hardship caused by the loss of his truck, saying, "Me need for know what go on. You give me a work, I'm done with it, and then I bear other things. Me need for know what go on, cause I like say me know you or so, and me not involved." Maitland assured him, "When them finish do them thing, them a go give you back your vehicle. Sorry, me just a call for tell you sorry about that, me G. As soon as them finish, them a go give you back your vehicle." Both the recordings and transcripts were admitted into evidence. The trial resumes next Tuesday. Robian Williams for Nationwide News.
You know this girl, Robian Williams. She is so good at, bringing to life, in the Jamaican dialect, what was said in the courtroom. She is brilliant at it. Yeah? The ease and, the interpretation, spot on. Yeah? Thank you, Miss Williams. The trial continues. Yeah? Now, it's 22 minutes going up to 11. It is going to cost you more to get a United States visa, that coveted American visa. The fee of just over 70,000 Jamaican dollars took effect yesterday, October 1. It's payable by those who are successful in their application. Some Jamaicans say they'll still try their luck at the U.S. Embassy in Ligony, St. Andrew, while others say the price is simply too much. So we went on the streets of Halfway Tree yesterday to get the reactions of Jamaicans, to the increased fees for an American visa. Here's Shalois Michael's report.
The new $250 visa integrity fee adds to the standard visa application cost of $185. This means applicants will have to pay a total of $435 for a tourist visa. That's 70,035 Jamaican dollars. The U.S. visa is one of the most sought-after travel permits in Jamaica. Hundreds of citizens join long lines at the embassy on a daily basis in hopes of getting the white paper of approval to feel the foreign breeze. When asked if the price hike will deter them from applying, some say the determination to travel abroad trumps all else.
No, because I want to travel and I want to have the experience to travel for a vacation and also to shopping. So anywhere I should get money from, loan or partner job, I will get.
Well, no, that's not plans. I don't think that is in form of a deterrence.
It's a lot of money. But I mean, if you go and you get it, the 70,000 not even gonna really matter no more. Can you go get it?
No, 70,000 doesn't deter me. I like to travel. I've been there before, and I like it, so I'll travel again.
But some say the increase is simply too much.
$70,000 for a visa is most definitely outrageous. It will definitely be a deterrent for me.
Yes, definitely, because there's no guarantee after you paying this $70,000 that you'll be granted a visa. So it is already tough times, and to take up $70,000 to apply, and then you're not guaranteed, you're not sure what the outcome is. Of course, I'm discouraged.
It is very discouraging. As a matter of fact, if you were sure that you were going to get it, it wouldn't even be that bad. But to spend $70,000 and only to hear that you are denied, no, it is discouraging for me.
I feel like they're taking advantage of it just because we all want to go there to work, to travel, to study, or even to see family.
If it did cost too much already, it costs too much now.
A key aspect of the new fee is the potential for a refund. Visa holders can apply for a refund of the $250 fee if they fully comply with their visa terms. If a visa holder leaves the U.S. within 5 days of their visa expiring or changes to a green card legally, they can also apply to get the $250 fee. But it remains unclear what's the process to access the refund. Shaloy Smichael for Nationwide News.
Well, you know, Jamaicans so covet that American visa that I don't think the raising of the fees will be a deterrent. Yeah? I don't think so. If they feel that they need it, they want it, they're going to find the money, yeah, to make a go at it. Yeah? In our production meeting yesterday, or was it the day before, someone made the point that there's a particular fast food in Jamaica. Yeah, a particular fast food. No matter how they raise the price, nobody now stop by it. Yeah? And the point was made that that was a similar situation for a U.S. visa. No matter where it go, we're going to find the money. It is for the same reason I said earlier this week that Jamaican governments have to be very careful in the era of Trump that we don't find ourselves beating up our chests and running up our mouths like some would love us to do, yeah, and to poke that bear called Trump and make him turn around and say, okay, no more visa for Jamaicans. Yeah? Because any government that triggers that kind of reaction is dead in the water. Yeah? Because you don't ramp with the Jamaicans when it comes to their visas, their U.S. visas. All right, that's where I'm going to leave it for this morning. Talking about Trump, you see in America, the federal government is now into its second day of being shut down. Yeah? The Republicans and the Democrats are at it again. The longest period for prior shutdowns was 35 days in 2018. We don't know how long this one is going to last for. Yeah? But it seems like America now is perpetually in chaos. And that has been a trademark of the Trump style of governing. He thrives in chaos. Yeah?